Hi everyone, and welcome to my new series, Holly in the Hebrides. I'm Holly, a freelance illustrator living full-time van life with my husband and our 2 dogs. After 2 years of this lifestyle, you could say we have a bit of a routine going. In the winter, we travel to escape the harsh weather before returning in the spring to settle somewhere for a while. Last year, we were working on the Isle of Islay, and this summer, it's the Isle of Mull, a beautiful Scottish island in the Inner Hebrides. Follow along as we discover what life is like here. It's a brand new week. We've got 2 days off, and as you can see, it's sunny. There's blue skies. This is the nicest weather we've had on Mull for quite a while, and I feel very lucky that we've got 2 days off now, so we can be out in it. We're at our little secluded park up that we come to. The dogs have just been sunbathing this morning, and we've been having a nice relaxing morning. But I think we're going to head out now. We're going to go get some coffee in a little town called Salen, going over to Ulva Ferry, which is where the vets are, because the dogs are having part 2 of some of their vaccinations. Probably talk about Quentin's situation with the vets and just get them checked over and confirmed that everything's all back to normal. And I think tomorrow we're actually going to go across to the Isle of Ulva on the little ferry. We've already done it once, but the last time we did it was in pouring rain, so I'm really excited to see it in the sunshine. The dogs have had their vaccinations now at the vets. We've just come from there and it all went well. They absolutely love the vets. They're like really melodramatic and hysterical, aren't they? About being in the vets. They just like
screaming and running around and like begging for treats.
They want to live at the vets. So yeah, we've arrived at our little parking spot now. You have to pay to stay here. What is it, £28 a night?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
£28 a night. It's like a community run little camping spot for camper vans, and you get water and electricity if we needed it. But yeah, it's just quite convenient to stay here, isn't there? There's not many park ups around this area. We thought for the afternoon we would go walk to a waterfall. There's about an hour walk there and then an hour back. We're feeling quite sleepy this afternoon, so that's why we thought we'd better do some exercise before we come back here for the evening. Anything else to say, Craig? I'm being really boring.
Well, my hair's nice and curly. How about that? Cool things to... Oh, I've just went straight back.
No, you haven't. You always do that. What are you doing, sexy girl in the club? Craig, do sexy girl in the club. I love when you do that. Does anyone else love it when you do that?
No.
I'm exhausted. My legs felt really tired and heavy and achy at the start of the walk, so by the time we got back I'm just absolutely pooped. 4 miles, so not a particularly big walk, but not a short one either. In front of me is everything I need to chop now, because that is my one skill in the kitchen, is being able to chop things up for Craig to then make a flavour combination happen. So we've got a pepper, red onion, sweet potato, and we're going to have sweet potato peanut curry with rice. Yum, that's one of my favourite things that Craig makes. Can I peel these?
Yeah, of course you can. To do that, one peeler.
Thank you. And the dogs have been chilling here. Because they had their second vaccinations, the vet said don't do anything with them today, like keep it chill. So that's what we'll do. That was their advice last time as well.
We're keeping it snoozy.
Yeah. I think I'm going to look over the footage that we took up on the waterfall. Don't mind the mess, it's only from lunchtime cooking the pakoras. We do the washing up usually, don't we? Don't look at that.
Yeah. It's a wee.
Didn't mean on purpose. Okay.
Good morning everyone, welcome to Wednesday. Well, the weather didn't last long. It's back to being grey, overcast. There's predicted to be a bit of rain today. So we're a little bit bummed about that because we were hoping by staying here overnight we could go see Ulva for the second time in glorious sunshine, because that's what the weather report said, but it's changed. It's not going to be as miserable as last time. I filmed a Patreon video when we went over to the Isle of Ulva and we had lunch in the rain, like eating soup with raindrops falling in it. So that was an experience. So it's not going to be as bad as that this time when we go over. We're just getting ready to head over to the ferry now. I think we're still going to go anyway, aren't we, Craig? Craig is just fixing, I'll show you. He's just fixing our curtain right now, because gradually over the 2 years we've lived in here, we've been ripping it down. Like sometimes you might step on it as you pass through into the front, and then when you try and like pull it back and fold it back, it's falling out of its clasps. We always like let jobs like this slide in the van because there's always something better to be doing than fixing little problems like this. Like you could be going outside, for example, or you could be going to the pub. I need to pack a little art kit because I think I'm going to try and do some little sketches when we get over there. I'm kind of in the mood to do that, so I'm going to take my sketchbook. Speaking of which, I can show you a few new bits that I've been doing. Basically, in Tobermory, just outside Tobermory, there is an oyster farm, and so you'll find oyster shells around the area, and I saw some on the floor and I thought, those are so beautiful. So I took some photos of them, and then I went home and I drew them. I don't actually really like this spread that much, especially this detailed one here. I don't like that at all, but still, there was something about the subject matter of oysters that I wanted to continue. So I drew some Pacific oysters and native oysters. I think the ones being farmed outside of Tobermory are Pacific because from my oyster research, those are the ones that tend to be farmed. And then around Scotland, there are native oysters that live naturally along the shoreline, and these are these ones. They're much like flatter and rounder, and yeah, they look quite different. And then I just really love the colours and the textures of oysters, I think. And then I did this watercolour study as well, which I really like. And the whole time I was painting this, I was just thinking of that Lewis Carroll story about the walrus and the carpenter. So next I think I want to draw a walrus in my sketchbook, even though I haven't seen that on Mull, obviously. Although walruses do rarely, very rarely, they will come to the shores of Scotland, and one of them last year visited the Treshnish Isles, which is where the puffins are, so that's cool. Yeah, so I'm just kind of like following where my interests are at the moment with sketchbooking.
I hold my keys too tightly in my pocket. I walk into the room, you're sleeping and it's quiet. I want to know what force holds this together. I want to feel the faith, but hold it at a distance. I want to know the truth about my life. Surrounded by the ordinary sorrow of just being here. Sleeping in the hospital and walking in the courtyard. I cut a beach and place the pieces on the counter and think about the nature of belonging to some larger whole that's largely undefined now. I look for it for hours while I go walking. I want to feel your face in darkness just beside me. I want to know the silence my life keeps. And morning holds a grace so elegantly perfect, and light is pouring in onto our heads. My sister's baby boy softens my heart.
It's the end of the week now, so I wanted to give a little recap of how it's gone. I would definitely say that this week was better than last week. I just published the video from last week, and yeah, it was such like a rainy, slow, sad week, but this week's been much better. The weather's been better. I felt gradually just more productive, had some encouragement from Craig and from my patrons, and just gradually seeing that this is just maybe like a slower time in my life, and probably a good thing and a thing to be grateful for, because a lot of working as an artist, especially if I intend to do this for the rest of my life, there is that risk of burnout, and I've definitely experienced it before. So this is just like an extended time where I'm moving a bit slower. Having said that, I have been working in my sketchbook a little bit. Last night I worked on this drawing / painting, and it's making me laugh just to look at it. This is my slug walrus. It does just look like a giant slug, but there's something to it. I think it's fun. I've painted walruses before when I was working with my publishers for like Ocean Bingo. There's a walrus in that game. Because you remember a few days ago I was painting these oysters, and I did a couple of pages where I was drawing and studying oysters. And I was constantly thinking of the Lewis Carroll story with the walrus and the carpenter, so that is why there is a walrus in my sketchbook. I just felt the need. I was just following my train of thought. Oh, and I can also show you the cottage that I finished sketching over on Ulva. This is Sheila's cottage, which is a reproduction of a traditional thatched cottage, and it's actually a museum, but it's not open this year. I'm not sure when it was last open, but it just kind of is showing like the traditional way of life on Ulva. It's a shame it's not open, but I really enjoyed drawing this. It's a very atmospheric place. I also really enjoyed that this was a completely black and white page, because I have been focusing so much on colour throughout this sketchbook. Sometimes just really enjoy a black coloured pencil. I'm going into this next week feeling positive, and I'm thinking next week I will kind of think more about the direction my YouTube channel's going in and the kind of content I want to be making, because I'm thinking the interest in Holly and the Hebrides as a series has kind of fallen off a little bit. I'm not bringing anyone new to my channel through making these videos, and I really need to. Unfortunately, like, I do actually have to pay attention to my analytics, because I can see this being a more important part of my business going forward, as a lot of my client work is going to be taken by AI in the very near future. I think I'm going to have to become more of the face of my art than I already am, just to be like, I'm a human making art, I'm still making it if anyone's interested, using my humanity as a business strategy as artificial intelligence nicks all the jobs. I'm gonna go now. I need to work on my BBC Wildlife painting, and I think I'm gonna film that for Patreon. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog today. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, and I will see you next week. Bye.